You know, every single day we're online, sharing bits and pieces of our lives. But have you ever stopped to think about how all that personal information is actually protected? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to build a digital fortress, and we're diving deep into something called information privacy engineering, which is really just the art and science of keeping our data safe.
So here's our game plan. First up, we've got to figure out what treasure we're actually protecting. Then we'll scout out the threats. Who's trying to get it? After that, we'll look at the rules of the game, the tools we need to build our defenses, and finally, the master strategy to keep it all locked down.
So what is this treasure we keep talking about? It's simple, really. Before you can even think about building a fortress, you have to know what you're putting inside. And in our digital world, that treasure is our personal data.
Now, the official term for this stuff is Personally Identifiable Information, or PII for short. Basically, PII is any little piece of data that can point a finger directly back to you. This is the crown jewel, the absolute heart of what our digital fortress is designed to protect.
And this isn't some abstract concept. We're talking about the everyday info we barely think about. Your name, your email, your social security number, of course, but also things like your computer's IP address or the location data beaming from your phone. Each piece might seem small, but when you put them all together, they paint a crystal clear picture of exactly who you are. Okay, so now we know what we're protecting. The next logical step is to understand the enemy. Who or what is constantly trying to get inside? Let's take a look at the threats that are always trying to find a crack in our fortress walls. Generally, these threats come in two main flavors. First, you have passive attacks. You can think of these like spies hiding in the shadows, just listening in, trying to learn your secrets without you even knowing they're there. And then you have active attacks. These guys are way more direct. They're not just listening, they're trying to kick down the door, change your data, or even pretend to be you. So, we have this really valuable asset, and we know there are threats out there trying to get it. How in the world do we start building a defense? Well, we need a blueprint, and that blueprint comes from a set of rules and regulations that are recognized all over the globe. You've probably heard of the most famous of these rulebooks, GDPR, which is Europe's General Data Protection Regulation. It's so comprehensive and influential that it's pretty much become the gold standard for privacy laws everywhere, setting a really high bar for how companies have to handle our personal data. And what's really cool is that the heart of GDPR isn't just some dry list of technical rules. No, it's built on these core principles, things like fairness and transparency, and data minimization, which just means only collecting the data you absolutely need. When you boil it all down, it's really about forcing organizations to treat your information with respect. But hey, GDPR isn't the only game in town. There are other expert organizations, like NIST, that's the National Institute of Standards and Technology in the US, and the global ISO, which is the International Organization for Standardization. They also provide these incredibly important frameworks. You put them all together, and you've got a seriously comprehensive guide for any privacy engineer. All right, we've got our blueprint. Now it's time to grab our tools and actually start building this thing. This section is all about the how, the real tangible technologies that engineers use to construct the walls of our fortress. The first, and maybe the most important tool in the entire kit, is cryptography. Think of this as the unbreakable master lock on our fortress gate. It uses really complex math to just scramble readable information into a secret code that is completely useless to anyone who doesn't have the right key. And this lock basically works in two ways. First, there's symmetric encryption. It uses just one key to both lock and unlock the data. It's super fast, but the challenge is, how do you share that single key securely? Then, there's asymmetric encryption. It's kind of like a mailbox. Anyone can use the public slot to drop mail in, but only you have the private key to open it up. It's way more secure because that secret key never, ever has to be shared.
Of course, a good fortress needs a lot more than just one lock. Engineers add layers of defense. Things like access controls act as the gatekeepers, checking IDs and deciding who gets in and what they're allowed to see. Then you have data loss prevention tools. Think of these as the watchtowers, making sure nobody is smuggling treasure out of the fortress. And behind all that, every single system is configured for maximum security.
But look, having the best tools in the world is totally useless if you don't have a great strategy. You need a playbook, right? Something that guides you on how to build and maintain the fortress for the long haul.
And the master strategy here is called privacy by design. Honestly, this is a real game changer.
Instead of treating privacy like an afterthought, something you bolt on at the end, you build it into the very foundation of a system right from day one. It's all about being proactive, not reactive.
A huge part of this strategy is this constant looping cycle of risk management. It never stops. You're always on the lookout for new vulnerabilities, assessing how dangerous they are, using your tools to fix them, and then monitoring everything to make absolutely sure your defenses are still holding strong. And finally, let's be real. Even the strongest fortress needs a fire drill. An incident response plan is exactly that. It's a detailed, rehearsed plan for what to do if or when a breach actually happens. It's all about knowing precisely how to minimize the damage and get back on your feet as quickly as possible.
And there we have it. Our digital fortress is built. The walls are up, the guards are on duty, and the strategy is in place. So let's just quickly recap the key blueprints we used for its construction.
Okay, here it is, the whole explainer in 60 seconds. 1. Your personal data. Your PII is a valuable treasure. 2. It's constantly under attack from all sides. 3. Laws like GDPR give us the blueprint for how to defend it. 4. Engineers use amazing tools like cryptography to build the walls. And 5. The absolute best strategy is a proactive one, privacy by design.
And all of this leads us with one final pretty big question. In a future that's only going to get more connected, a world where data is basically everything, are these strategies going to be enough? Is building privacy in from the start the ultimate answer, or is it just the beginning of a much, much longer battle?